Hello everyone, welcome to our August episode 1 of Colombo JavaScript Meetup. So we got Arunoda here this time, uh, joining as our resource person and to do the session. Now we are going to talk about in this meetup about Next.js, and we will be going to share some details of JamStack in general also, how these things came on. So first, I'm going to introduce our speaker today. So Arunoda is one of our co-founders of JavaScript Meetup. I met him in I think about 2012 or 2011, where I think in 2012, where he did a talk about introduction to Meteor.js at that time. And Meteor was very young and getting startup. And later he founded his own startup called Kadira. And Kadira also went as an APM for Meteor. And later he joined at that time company called Site and maintained Next.js. That's Site, sorry. So later that company got renamed to Vercel, a name that we can all can pronounce very well. So he worked and maintained Next.js, and later he moved to Vercel's infrastructure also. So he's the one who actually perfect fit for this topic. So I'm going to give the stage to Arunoda now to continue his session, and I will be interrupting him in middle if you have any questions. Okay,
right.
let's go.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chatu. Right. Then I want to mention, like he mentioned, like I co-founded with Chatu and another. Who's the other guy? Chatu. Like I remember there's Singapore. Pasindu. Yeah. At that time, but I haven't involved with JavaScript Colombo for a while. So yeah, I had some work with Basel, and I was focused on that. Yeah, that's why I was not active in the community. So I think now I have more time, yeah, we can do something cool. About the topic today. So basically, I'm trying to talk a little bit about Next.js, and how things are currently working with Next.js, especially with the rendering stuff, because there's quite a confusion of whether it's Next.js is a server-side rendered framework, or whether it's a static page generation framework, or a hybrid stuff. So I'm going to cover all those things, but then in brief, of course, and then later we can have a discussion and talk more things related to Next, or maybe something related to JamStack in general. So yeah, let's get started. How I try to do this session is like this. So basically, I'll give you maybe 10 to 15 minutes max, like a presentation kind of thing, and then if you have questions in that time, please ask question in any format you like, maybe on Facebook or in the Zoom. Chato will coordinate those things, and then after that we can do a live demo. So I'll try to show these new feature in Next.js called static regeneration. So then we can see how it works, and then we can have some discussion. Right. So let me share my screen. Yes, I think okay. All right. So I assume you can see my screen. I guess so. Yep. Let me open the chat. Right. Cool. So I'm trying to give you an overview of the kind of rendering when it comes to web application these days. So these are not like historical solution or something in the past, but things currently we have and use a huge website, and then it's yeah. I'm going to compare these things, and we can discuss more later on. So the common thing is static site generation. So basically you have a set of, let me zoom a little bit more. So you have a set of markdown files, maybe YAML files, and then there's a build step, and then you create a set of .html files, and that's it. You can deploy this to GitHub pages. That's pretty easy. And maybe some other places, Netlify, Vercel, or any places you like. So that's how it works. So this is still quite popular. Of course, we have Jekyll for the GitHub pages, and there's a new framework like Elementary. Yeah, 11. I think something like this. So basically, it's a simple static generator. Like you don't have any framework like framework inside there, because it's generated HTML and that's it. So that's one way you are building web applications, especially blog apps, personal websites. So this is the perfect solution. You deploy the app and you don't need to worry about anything. And the another thing is server-side rendering. So basically, here we create server-side rendering based application if you have dynamic content. It doesn't mean like you cannot have dynamic content in a static site generated pages, but it's quite complicated. But then for the server-side rendering, we typically use static site generation. So basically, user asks for a page, and then inside the server, it will generate a page on demand and serves as HTML output. So basically, we can think about PHP, Ruby, and Rails on this category. And some people think like this is kind of bad. So server-side rendering is old technology, PHP is old, and kind of I don't think like that way. It's a choice some people choose, and so good example is the hey.com. That I think you have heard about this new email service. So basically, they run everything their email client as a Ruby on Rails application. So basically, it runs pretty fast, and you can load pages very quickly. I'm not talking about the public website, but I'm talking about the actual dashboard. But I cannot show you the actual how it works right now, because my personal emails are there. But if you try to like give it a try, it's really fast experience, and so I can show you some code. So let's check the view source. Right. So basically, this is it. Like, there's no JavaScript. It's just the HTML pages and some CSS. And yeah, there's a little JavaScript script, and it just works. Like, it's pretty simple. So this is how their whole application looks like, even the dashboard. So still, I think this server-side rendering, if you can do it, and it's a really good solution. Right. That's it. Right, about then single page apps. So this is the another like way how we can create applications. So you create your whole application as a JavaScript app, usually using a framework like maybe React, Angular, or Vue. So then you do client-side routing. There are routers you can choose depending on the framework. And then when you try to build your application, you build the application, and then you will get a set of JavaScript files and maybe CSS files. And then there are some HTML skeleton. So that skeleton is just a simple page. You don't have any dynamic content inside. That's a simple page. And then you deploy this into a static serving web hosting, maybe GitHub Pages and other places, and it just works. And then when a user asks for that page, it serves those JS files and as needed, not all. It can automatically download all this necessary stuff as you want them, and then render them on the client side, and that's it. Server side is just serving those files. It's simple like a file server, and then inside the browser, it can render this component. And in previously, we think like single page apps, like they're not okay for SEO purpose. Like if you want to do SEO, like index on Google, and then this is a bad solution. But nowadays, Google can actually talk to these kind of pages, so that's not a problem. So that's a lie right now. But there are some problems involved, because you have to load some of the JavaScript class files, and you have to wait for that, and that's quite a problem. And that's why pre-rendered apps comes in. So basically, this is like a step up from these single page applications. So it's a single page app, and that's it. And there's like a configuration or a server to do the pre-rendering. So basically, pre-rendering is a fancy word, but it does simple thing. Basically, when a user asks for a page, it will generate the HTML file basically it render the page inside the server as a browser, and then it will give that HTML to the browser, and then to the user, and then user can render the HTML page and then get all the other JavaScript, and it's just like a SPA after that. And there are some services like Prerendered.io you could use for any SPA. And then if you use like a framework like Next.js, So you have to change a little bit of your application. I mean, not little, you have to work with the Next.js way, creating pages, and then it will do all these things for you. You don't need a specific server to do this stuff, and it can do the pre-rendering part as well. So still it's a server-side rendering, but it's a client-side application as well. It's a like single-page application as well. So basically, these are the like quite. If you want to build a web application, these are the way you have to choose, and there are no correct way to do this thing. You could, I can't say this is the right way or wrong way, but you have a reason to do that, and then if you choose that one, and yeah, that's it. There are some pros and cons. And one of the, let me show you the one of the, all right. Yeah, Chatush mentioned there's a like question, right? Yeah, let's go for it. Chatu, you have, how can I see the question?
No, I just actually mentioned that if people can actually ask a question even in this time if they have anything.
Oh, right. Sure. Okay. Sorry for that. So yeah, that's it. And if you think about the problems about server-side rendering, problem is like if you're trying to render if you think about case of React, if you're trying to render React inside the client server, and currently it's quite problematic. I mean, it's like very resource consuming, especially talk about React itself. And sometimes we can change that with pre-React, and it's kind of works. But the React library is quite complicated to run on the server. I mean, it's resource heavy, and if you do that, and even you need to fetch data, and that takes a lot of some time, and that added to your like data loading time, I mean page loading time. So that's quite a problem, and that's why like static sites are really fast, because you don't have to render anything in the server. At the same time, if you think about static site, if you want to do some dynamic pages, and you are out of luck, because like, so let's say you have a blog application. So let's say you are cnn.com, and you're trying to like create cnn.com as a static application. So then you build your pages locally, let's say 10,000 pages, and you deploy it to your like server, and it's done. And then let's say you want to edit some like grammar mistake, then you have to rebuild the whole application again, and that's take a lot of time. And you can imagine, if you want to add something, you can change the simple grammar fix, you have to rebuild the application, and it's quite time consuming. So that's why people are trying to introduce something called incremental builds, or in Next.js we call it like static regeneration, and Gatsby, and I think they call it as a incremental builds, I guess. So that's how they try to fix the problem. And the way Next.js and Gatsby try to differentiate the problem, trying to address this problem is quite interesting, and I'll tell you but in a moment. Okay, there's a question about like, does CRA do SPA or pre-rend SPA? Now, about the CRA, like it's create React app. If you don't know about that, someone create React app. So this is the like a default, I mean de facto way you want to create a React application. That's what React.js recommends to do. But I try to promote Next.js. If you want to do that, skip in this one. But yeah, this is the React recommended way. So basically, it's a SPA. You don't have a pre-built pre-rendering support, but you can have you can use a service like Prerendered.io maybe. And I think there are so many tools to like make it as a like a pre-rendering option, and it's quite popular so to do that. So I don't find any problems with that if you want to do that.
Yeah, out of the box that the CR is not an SPA, right?
Yes,
not an
yes.
pre-rendered. It's just an HTML skeleton, and you load the JavaScript, and then it's going to fetch all things and rendering things, right?
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Chadu. Right. Yeah, I like those kind of questions, like, because like talking is kind of boring, like, so we can discuss stuff really interesting. So now, so the problems of static site generation is basically we have to rebuild for every change, but then server-side rendering is kind of costly. You have latency, and so what Next.js is trying to do is actually we're trying to merge these static site generation and the server side rendering together and create something interesting. I'll show you how it works. So basically here we build the app as a normal page application, because in Next we create kind of pages. So it's like PHP. So you create a page and that's it. And then in the server side, in your local machine or in the CI server, you have an option to like create some set of pages. Like let's say you have, let's say about the like let's imagine it's a CNN.com. So you build some of the popular website, popular blog post locally, and then you upload those stuff. And also you have like set up Node.js files, or maybe lambdas, or maybe Node.js server. So you can dynamically generate pages on demand. So basically you want to do like some grammar fix, then you don't need to rebuild your application. You simply change your data source and that's it. And if you want to add a new blog post, and then you create that blog post and update your CMS, or maybe update into your database, and that's it. So you don't need to like rebuild your application after deploy. So that's how static regeneration works. So that's what regeneration is, but I'm going to show you how it works. So basically it's kind of really hard to explain, but it's really interesting. So let's say user asks for a page, user A, and then Next.js is trying to see the cache. So is there a pre-built cache? So the cache is something like that. We build something locally when you're building the application. And if there are a cache, or maybe a dynamically build a cache, then it will serve that page to the client. And then it will trigger a new regeneration. So basically it will ask the Next.js server to create a new HTML output of that page, or a new page. And then it will cache that HTML output inside the Next.js server. And then so another user asks for a page, and that user will get the updated version. The old user get the old page. It's a old copy, but then new user will get the new copy. So if you think about this, it's not a problem. Like if you have multiple people accessing your website, and then time to time some of the users will get like one or two users will get like old copy, but then all the other users will get a new copy. So it's a trade-off. So that's how it works. Basically it will try to like create pages into the server. So these pages are not servers. I mean, it's not a traditional server-side rendering, because there's no waiting process. User asks for a page, and user will get a HTML. So there's no, it's simple HTML applications, static pages. So that's a differentiator. And this is really working. I can show you, and it's pretty interesting how it works. And then so in Gatsby they have like a similar functionality. So they need to run a special build farm. So they have their own like incremental build pipeline. So that's how they do this one. But in Next.js, everything is built into a framework. So you don't have to do, you don't need any support from the hosting provider. So let's say you deploy it on Heroku, maybe you deploy on AWS. So that's, you can use, there's no need to change anything. You deploy the application, that's it. And if you deploy on Bazel, and that's the best place to deploy a Next.js application, Bazel.com. Yeah, you can get all the benefits. Like there's no like hidden stuff, but of course like it's much performance and easy to use. That's it. And yeah, there's no vendor lock-in kind of thing. Yeah, this is about the like the static regeneration kind of thing. How I can explain. I understand like you might not get it like right now. I'm gonna show you how it works. Chatu, do you have any questions before I start the demonstration? Like, yeah, if you have any questions, just put it right now.
Yeah, currently there's not. So it's like when it comes to Next.js, just to confirm. So it's like old days that I think when in Code Ignite also we just create the files in the folder and it generate the routes from it. So Next.js also like that, right? So in the pages folder, we just created the file and it's going to be defaulted to that route, the file name.
Yeah, I think, yeah, of course it is, but it doesn't relate to this static regeneration feature, but it's the way how Next.js works. So basically, if that's a server-side rendering application or static regeneration, and it's the same. I want to mention something like in Next.js, we still can do server-side rendering, but we prefer to do static regeneration because it's amazing. Like you can do a lot of stuff. You can build really fast application, but you have the option to use server-side rendering with still Next.js, and I think they're not going to remove it for. I mean, they're not going to remove it. So that's it. It's not deprecated or anything. It's there.
Yeah. So
Right.
like
I
if you
think.
have any, if you can predict the things that user wants in the first run, so you can just regenerate and use the static regeneration, and you create a complete schema file.
Yeah, that's how we think. Like, let's say I can show you. So with I can show you with a demo. Like so, this is a Versal.com. So here, like everything you see is static pages. Here, the blog and everything. And if you let's say we are going to a blog, so all the blog content is coming from a Notion files, Notion collection or something like that. So everything here is Notion document, and but at the end, the user sees the actual HTML files. So this is HTML, and there's no server-side rendering in here. So we use the static regeneration, and the backend is a Notion document. So this is fine with a blog post because there's no user related content here because static, I mean, like blog post is open. Every person can see that. So that's a really good use case for like static regeneration. But let's say you want to add something on top of that. So then of course you can use SWR. So there's a package called like SWR. This one to fetch data on a remote like server or someplace, and then you could render those components on top of this static page. That's the option you can do. So that's what I do in my the new thing I'm working on, Get Started. So here it's like a course kind of infrastructure. So let me course kind of framework. So yeah, it's incognito. I'll go. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say let's pick a lesson. So here, so we have this whole thing is static web application. So it's everything is static, but then you can go into different stuff, and then you have set up. Yeah, here you can see this is a component. So it try to authenticate from GitHub and then get some stuff. So in that case, this component is based on it's actually something rendered on top of the static content. So then this is a live thing. So you fetch data and render it, and that's the difference. Like you can still add some authenticated content inside your static page. That's one way to do that. And there's another way. So let me show you the Vessel dashboard. All right, here. I think it's pretty safe to show you stuff. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So this is my personal stuff. Here, we don't do any kind of like static regeneration or server-side rendering. So here we have a simple like skeleton page, like we do in Create React app. But then we can like we fetch the data as we load stuff. So yeah, that's a different. Like it's depending on your way. You can choose anything you can create with Next.js. It's up to you. Yeah, that's a different differentiator with Next.js. It's a hybrid framework. You want like server-side rendering, you can do that. You need static regeneration, you can static files. That's possible. And if you want to put something on top of the static pages and make it like a live, that's also possible. Right, there's a question. Initially, I had to generate the build again and again, even in version 9.4. So whenever third party makes some changes, we need to build. Okay. Can we totally skip server-side rendering? So the question, Jay, I think even with 9.4, so basically that's the version comes with the regeneration. I mean, I'm quite not sure what do you mean by the third party makes changes, but I think it's quite possible you could actually.
I think he's telling that the server-side rendering is really awesome feature. Previously, he was actually every time any changes happen, he need to actually do the building.
Right. Okay. I mean, like I mean, if you think about like let's say this one, like static regeneration, and this is actually server-side rendering. So it's a server-side rendering in an asynchronous way. For example, like here, so we're trying to like trigger a new page, and then this thing is server-side rendering, and it's not in server-side rendering in a traditional way, but it's in the background job. It's where the server-side is used server-side rendering and put that file in a cache.
So you're giving the fallback, right? In the first time, you're giving the fallback.
Yeah. It's a fallback. Oh yeah, it's a fallback. But if you rebuild that page on the build step, and it's the cache. You have the cache. It's like a fallback is a way you try to like. Yeah, it's a fallback, and it's a way to warm up the cache, and then this here.
So I think his question is, can we totally skip server-side rendering and go to static regeneration?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, sure. We can definitely do that. And that's what Basel does. We don't, Basel.com does. We don't do any server-side rendering stuff anymore. So it's everything is static regeneration, and and without any static as well, like CRA. So we do use those stuff. Right. And I think there's no reason to like, I mean, like, there are reasons, I mean, reasons are very quite limited. Like, use cases are quite limited if you want to like do server-side rendering these days, because like you don't really need it. For example, like for the public pages, you can do static regeneration or static pages. And for the dashboard kind of thing, I think you don't need to like, you just need to load it faster. Like you don't need to do server-side rendering for those kind of things. You can have a skeleton as HTML and just because I can show you the like here the page shows. I think it should be. So this is Next.js stuff data. So just forget it. I mean, like it's CSS kind of thing. But if you think about this one, there's no anything. It's just a skeleton. You don't have data inside this one. Right. Yeah. Let's go back to the demo, I guess. Chatu, how many time do we have? Like, how much?
I think we have about 20 minutes.
All right. Cool. Okay. I'll do a quick demo. So basically, this is the way you try to demo you the ISSG on incremental static regeneration. So that's it. You can get this tutorial. So if you want to do it locally, so go to getstarted.sh and then there's a link you can get it. Maybe you can Google this one. Let me try it. Yeah, and we Google it, and there's one called getstarted.sh, and pick that one and go for it. All right. Sorry. All right. So basically here I'm trying to create I'll try to show you. So basically first I need to clone something. This is startup application, and I'm gonna show you. And I already cloned that locally in my machine, and then let me run it. So here you can run yarn dev. So basically, yeah, that's it. So it will run my application in the local mode. And let me open this in a browser. I think let me open that on my current browser. Right. So basically, it's like a music random music generator or something like. So basically, it will try to pick a new song every time you reload the page, and it will try to render it. All right. Chatur is asking about can we have a recording? I think we can have it. I think we already have it. Yeah. Right. So basically, I can reload the page, and it will get a new song, and I can play that. All right. I think it's too loud. Yeah. Like that. So here I'm using the iTunes API. iTunes has a like public API. You don't need authentication at all to get some data. I mean, you can search the iTunes, and you can play about 30 seconds for every song. So the problem is this API has a rate limit of 20 per minute, I guess. I think maybe hour. I don't remember exactly. It's like there's a rate limit. So if you try to build a server-side rendered application and it's limiting based on the IP address, and then if you try to like reload this page and then after a few couple of like if you try to, a lot of people try to access the page and you can't do that because you try to like hit the API, iTunes API hard, and they will block you. So that's how it works, and that's a problem. So then this is a place we can use static files. Basically, if you reload the page, and you will get the cached version of this page, and not only you, but I mean, let's say 1,000 people trying to access the same website at the same time, they will all get this song. Yeah, that's fine for the user, and this is random, but the random has a whole, like you can see. So that's the cool feature of static regeneration. So currently this is like a server-side rendered application. You can see if you are not quite familiar with Next.js, so let me give you a brief. So we have a page, index page, and there's a function called get server-side props. So here I'm trying to find a song, and so here I'm talking to the iTunes API, and then I'm gonna send this song as a prop. So and then here the page, and I have the song, and then I can print the name, artist, and the track URL, and and I can play the audio. That's it. So yeah, this works. That is a problem with rate limits because of the server-side rendering. So I need to convert this into a static site generation page. So that's pretty easy. So what I try to do is I'm going to try here we have get server-side props, but I'm going to type here get static props. So that's all you have to do. Now this is a static application. So let me try to demo it. So I'm going to build this application. Yarn build. Oh, sorry. So here I'm trying to build my application locally, and it will try to build it. So there's a problem. Right.
I think it's just get static props. I think you
oh
keep the
yeah,
side
gets
part.
yeah. Thanks, Chadu. Yeah, live coding, it's really hard, and it's really helpful with someone trying to tell me like, okay, like Chatu. Thanks a lot. Right. So then I can start the application and start, and I have the apps running. And there's a problem is this app. So if someone can guess me the problem, that would be really nice. Before I show you that,
I think you can to get the props right.
And not a kind of typo kind of problem, but in my app's
No,
function.
Right. I think in your document TS, I think you are getting that data, right?
No. I'm not thinking about that. I mean, like I'm asking about here in my application. So we randomly generate a new song every time. So, but this application I have problem. So I think this one is right now working, but here we have problem in this application. That's the problem. Right, it's pretty, I mean, like, so even though you reload the page, you get the same song. So that's the problem I'm trying to tell you. The reason is we build the here we static here props. So basically we build the app locally. So it's just like a simple so simple static.
Just
static
build the same HTML page, and it isn't going to change.
Yeah, that was simply like a static site generation. I mean, it is static site generation, not like it is. Yeah, that's why you get every time even though you reload the page, you get the same song. And there's a way to fix that. That's with the regeneration. And let me show you how to do. But I don't remember exactly the I'll try to go to the code and try to, okay, this is what I want to do. Exactly, Jay. Yeah, that's it. That's how you want to explain it. Thanks. So here, trying to fix this, basically we can do something like this: unstable revalidate. So I'm going to copy this one. So I can simply put it here. That's it. So now let me build the app again. So not yarn build. Then I'm going to run a yarn start. Right. So then let me open this page. Okay. Now I'm gonna, so it will give a new new song in the first load. That's fine. But let me reload it again. But it will give him the same song again. But I'm gonna reload another time, and then it will give a new song. And this is not a problem. This is not a bug actually in the framework how it works. And that's sort of what I want to show you. So here, let me here in the first time we ask Next.js to give me a page, and then it will give me the stuff inside the cache. And but after here, I put the cache in invalidation time into three seconds here. That's what this 3 means. So it will keep that copy inside the cache for 3 seconds, and then after that 3 seconds only, it will create a new page. So here in the initial load, we get the file from the disk, and then it will cache that for three seconds. Then in the next time, I'll talk that page, reload the page, and it will it's up to 3 seconds after the 3 seconds, and then it will give me the cache copy, but it will try to regenerate a new version. And then in the third time, I load the page, and it will give me the newly updated copy. I mean, newly generated copy. And you can see now I can so it will give me a new one, but here like this. So sometimes it's kind of like a bug, like like right. Is it possible to change the cache? Of course, like here we can currently it's the cache time is to like you can put it up to like 1 second, but I think with the new version you could put it as milliseconds like that, but like that. But in a future version, I'm not quite remember the plan. I think in a future release, actually we can actually change this offline. For example, let's say you update something on your CMS, and then after you change that content on the CMS, you can directly send a trigger to Next.js application to invalidate this cache. So then you don't have to have this timeout. So you can simply remove this one, and then instead of this one, you can update the cache using the webhook kind of thing. So that's even possible, but not today. Right now you have to play around with this cache time. Right. I think it's totally up to the use case, how much time you want to cache. I mean, for a blog post, I mean, like for a new blog post, you could put something like, so basically here you can put dynamic contents here, dynamic timing. So basically, if you can see something like this, I mean, let's imagine this is a blog post. You can just do something like, let's say post, create a dat, let's say it's and let's say it's yeah, we do something like that. Date.now and post create ad is let's say this is like less than, let's say, a millisecond. I mean 1 day, 1 day, and this is created let's say 1 day ago. So then you can have a different like revalidation time and like that. So it's up to you to like change the revalidation cache time, right? Let's put 3 seconds just like earlier, or maybe put 2 seconds. Anyway, it's up to you. Right now, I'm going to show you like quite trick to like reload the page, even though there's so like this is a kind of problem like it doesn't work. Some users might say, but there's a way to fix that. So here it's like a dirty fix kind of thing. So here I'm inside the same code. I'm gonna run this command. Basically, it will it's a use hook. It's a React hook. So here actually it will like trying to reload the page internally every 3 seconds kind of thing. After 3.5 seconds. So then it will cache it will clear the cache in the server, and then every time we reload the page from the reload button, I'll get a new copy. And this is a neat trick, and it's quite okay to do this, and there's no performance issue with this approach. And I'm gonna copy this code, and I'm gonna put it here, and I think I'm gonna put it in 2 seconds, and let me change it to like 2.5 seconds. And now let me build the app again. All right, I'm going to do yam start. Right, then I'm going to reload the page. I hope this should work. All right, no, I think I reload I didn't wait for 2 seconds, I guess. Yeah, now it will show me the page up 2 seconds like this. So yeah, you could play around this feature, and what I want to show you, actually, even with static regeneration, you can build very dynamic applications. So that's the whole point. And if you want to learn more about like static regeneration and all the cool features of Next.js, I'm currently doing a course and go to getstarted.sh, and then this is completely free. I don't planning to sell anything here, and everything is donation based. Yeah, some if you like, you can donate some stuff. Okay, thanks Praveen. All right, so then I'm still quite early in the course, so you can right, let me click that. All right. I don't know why it's not loading. Anyway, maybe something down. Yeah, I need to look for it. All right. Anyway, so you can go over a page, and so then you can go to the lesson. Yeah, that's it. And here I put some content here, and with talking about different aspect of the server-side rendering. Static regeneration. So, right. Yeah, that's kind of like a marketing for my course. And thanks, guys. Right. I think this is it. This is what I want to cover in this session. If anyone has question, and I'm trying to help, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, cool. The session was really insightful and knowledgeable, and it's time for you to ask questions. So in the meantime,
how many times do we have for the questions? Like,
so we have about 19 minutes for questions.
Oh, interesting. That's nice. All right.
So till we get a question, I'm going to ask one question from you. So how are we going to handle the authentication in Next.js?
Yeah, I think it's a quite interesting topic, and I think I created like a. So I still am I sharing the screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, so marketing. Right. Let me go to my course again. Like, so here we have a. I think there's something with my server. Anyway, so we have a lesson called add here. So basically, I'm talking about how to add social authentication. So here with Next, I think for the authentication there are quite a lot of options. So we can use Firebase auth if you are using Firebase. I think that's the best way to do that if you're using Firebase. And there's Auth0. And you can hook up with any passport.js based solution, because this is something with the Next.js. I mean, Node.js world. That's also possible. And you can use Next.dot, and I'm going to talk about that this right now. And you can use Magic Link, and there's a cool way to like link login using the email. This is it, and you can customize.
Yeah, I remember you wrote an article about how to use
Magic Link. And then the cool thing about Next.dot, and that's something I really like to do. So it's I think I mean. Chatu, I know you are hosting this with Auth0. I think this is much simpler than Auth0. And I think if you ask 2% to like let's say newcomers to like set up authentication to a Next.js application, I bet he's gonna complete the authentication with Next.dot within maybe, like, if he doesn't know anything, maybe 3 minutes or something like that. No, I mean 3 minutes. No, I mean 30 minutes kind of thing. It's pretty simple, and it covers.
I think they also have the Auth0 as a provider. I think
maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think that's the reason for that one, because you have the you can connect with any kind of like social authentication providers, and you can hook up with your own DB, if you want, but if you don't have a DB, that's also fine. They will use JW tokens, and that's it. Yeah, Jay, it's not 3 seconds. I mean, like, that's the kind of typo. It should be 30 minutes. Right. So yeah, that's it. I think if you want to add authentication, next source is the way to go then. And how you do that in your Next.js application, I mean, like how conceptually, and it's pretty simple. Like basically, you have the application. Yeah, typo. Yeah, yeah, mistake type. I mean, like word typo kind of thing. Right? How we do this is pretty simple. Like in here, let's say you want to make this authentication kind of work, and then you have like a if condition ternary in React. So if there's a authenticated user, you could put that component here. If not, you could put some other component. And if you can do the same thing for a dashboard as well. So that's a simple way to like concept, like how to think about how to add to any Next.js application or any React app.
Well,
Yeah,
if we get something like dashboard, are we going for server-side rendering? Are we going for server-side regeneration?
I think we don't need both, because if you think about dashboard, like it's it's data for each and every user. Like, so let's say for Chatu, you have your own set of data, and me, I have it's like completely personalized. In this case, like static regeneration is not a good option, because we have a cached copy, and this cached copy is a command for all users. I mean, like as a whole. And the server-side rendering, of course, you can do that, but I think there's no reason. Like you can actually you cannot you can simply send like a simple dummy HTML, and that's you can do like
like a client-side rendering.
Yeah, of course. Like, and then you can fetch data locally. And I mean, like with these days, you could do like a data-free preloading. So basically, you could actually load data as you load images, like in the early loading times kind of thing. And then in that way, actually, you could create dashboard quite faster here. So basically, it's, I mean, my internet is kind of shitty, but you can see it's quite fast. And I can show how it works. So let me show inspect not the view source. Here, let me open the network tab. So let me, I don't need the script resolve logs. Right, let me do a hard reload. Right. So if you're looking at this, so here we have the dashboard here, and then you can see here this teams call, and it's a sharp.
It's not JSON, right?
Yeah, it's a JSON and the user. So basically, it will try to fetch that very early in the life cycle. This one, this is script of, and here user. Like, so basically, it doesn't need to wait for the all the JavaScript load, but you can fetch the data as you load JavaScript and CSS and other stuff. So by doing that, you could render the page quite quickly. And then the good reason to preload is the user. So you have the user object with some things specific to you, and after that you could reload load other stuff like this. So in the client side after the initial load. Yeah, I mean, for the dashboard kind of thing, I think you can simply use a skeleton and then render stuff locally. But I think if you think like about like if you want to like server-side rendering, and it could be quite easy to do, because you don't need to worry about like client-side fetching SWR or anything. Just fetch props and do that. And if you think that's easy for you, and go for it, I think that's fine. Right. I think Pubudu, you also had a question, right? Okay. Oh, we have some questions. I missed the chat. Sorry. Right. Right. Shiru, thanks for your comment. Yeah, okay. This is Nimpuna. Thanks for the great overview. When you see use effect to change force cache updates, will it be almost the same as SSR? Right. With the use effect thing. So basically, I'm trying to load the same page using the client side. Like, it's not server-side rendering. It's still the regeneration. The reason I'm doing that reason, I'm trying to like use. Let's say in this case, I'm the only user. right now here. Let me open this one. So here I'm the only user, but then with the user page hook, I'm trying to like mimic this another user behavior. So I'm trying to like to hack this thing. So it's not like server side rendering, like it's the same thing, but I'm trying to like yeah, like fake a new client. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's addressed the question. Nipuna, if you have many updates, please feel free to ask right now. Yeah, and there's a question from Pubudu. Can we have dynamic route generation based on authentication? Right. Okay. For example, admin user gets all routes. User to get only some routes. I think that's a good question. So basically, he's asking something like this. Here, this is the admin in the dashboard. Okay, I think he's talking about with the roles. Okay, you have a dashboard. I'm trying to explain it in detail. So we have a dashboard and we have the home page. With Next.js, you don't need to think about routes, how those component works and so on. Let's say in the home page, you let's say it was a .com/home, I guess it is. So here we don't have anything. We don't import anything inside the these kind of components there. I mean, these are the components only available on the dashboard. And in the home page, we have another set of components like this one. This is kind of huge. It's a SVG anyway, kind of thing. So in this case, so this component is never going to load in this page if you try to reload it. And at the same time, all the components in here never going to load into this page, even though it's the same application. So the way how it works with in Next.js, we use a Webpack for the code splitting. So it will like dynamically understand the web page and try to do that. But let's say you want like import some component based on the role. So that's what Ubuntu mentioned. The admin gets everything, and but the some other users get some other thing. So in that case, you can do something like dynamic imports. So Next.js has something called Next.js dynamic imports. So basically, you could create some components. You can have any component, and you can import that component as a dynamic component. And based on the user's role, you could render this component on your screen. So based on that, Next.js can automatically load these components on demand if needed. And if you're doing server-side rendering, it will actually render the component well as expected on the server-side rendering solutions as well. So this is what you want to do. Right. Right. Then there's another 3 questions. Right. Okay. Thanks, Nibuna. Right. The Praveen asked about will you fetch the user if we want to fetch it? Yeah, I think that's of course. I think I'll go for the I'll go for the fetch the user always. Let's say if that's a logged out in the case of logged out user, then I might get a 404, maybe no user, something like that. Then I can render that 40 page very quickly. I think it's a good idea to fetch the user always in the dashboard, in the home page, and I don't think we need. I mean, yeah, in the home page as well, we have the this tag. I mean, this menu. I think still we need to fetch it. Let me check it. Let's check it. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Right, hard to reload. Star. I think. I think. Yeah, we still do. We still are not sure. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean like. So yeah, I can see here the red mark is after the page load. Yeah, I think we still do. Reload the page. Right. That's it. All right. That's it. Let's see. Do we have any? Chato, do you have any question in the Facebook? I didn't check that. This is a question by Yasiru. What do you think about the tools provided by Vue ecosystem? Oh, I think yeah, but Vue, I think Nuxt is really good. I mean like so I didn't know about GridSum. Frankly, what is GridSum? Let's check. Yeah, it's a static site generation. I think maybe it gets kind of like a Gatsby version Next.js. Whoa, yeah. All right. I think yeah. I think Next is a really a good one. So it has a similar feature set as in Next.js, but I'm not going to say it's a clone of Next.js because the reason is like they have really interesting stuff. Because in Next.js we didn't had the page-based routing for a while, and Next already has that one, and that's a good thing. And we have a static regeneration built in the framework, but Next doesn't have that. At the same time, Next has something called Next content. So basically, you can have it's like a really interesting. You can have a data directory, and you could actually put markdown files. You could do amazing things because it's a really easy way to create a blog, uh, like getting data from the file. You don't have something like in Next.js, so it's like a yeah, it's yeah. I'm not trying to say Next is I'm trying to say Next is a really good framework, but it's not a clone of Next.js, but it's try to be in the same segment kind of thing. Yeah, Next is really good. I haven't really used it I mean, I tried it, but I haven't used it in a real app, so I cannot compare how Next and Grid some works. Pudu asking about how the development experience in Next.js, like the time to start the app and library doing. Okay, I think you should stop worrying about that one. I mean the CR. I mean I think it's much better than CRA with Next.js. I think with Next we have fast refresh. I think it's the first framework to have fast refresh in a React framework. So basically, fast refresh is something internal in Facebook how they develop the how they do the hot reloading, and Next.js is bring that to the React world for the first time. And the way how it works with so Next.js team, so they work with the Webpack and they try to integrate that to the Webpack, and they work with the Dan from React who wrote the fast refresh for the Facebook, and yeah, and I think for the dev experience, I think that's the key in Next.js. Next.js, you should not worry about that one. All right, thanks, Chatura. All right, there's the Petco. I think he's asking about micro frontends. I think I didn't have any. I don't have much experience on micro frontends. Like it's like I think the micro frontends, that means like you have app. You try to put stuff on React, and then you are trying to put some stuff on Vue, maybe Angular, like that. But I'm quite not sure about how to use it. I'm with Next, but I think I might think there are some examples with Next. Yeah, give it a try. Yeah, I'm not a good person to like do that. Talk about that. Okay, there's ask a question from Jay again. So the home and dashboard revalidate again and again on some changes, like say logout or forget password kind of thing, or revalidation is single page. Right, so that's a problem. So if you want to like I think it's a really bad way to like cache the user data. So in the static regeneration, so you should not cache anything user related. So it should be the public data, because let's say you try to cache some content for me, and then let's say you have cache time for 5 seconds, and then the next time Chatu loads the page, he gets my content as well. So I think you didn't think about like static regeneration is for the static pages. You try to like cache static pages with your way and like that. But for the login stuff, try to fetch data locally with SWR or some other tool, or maybe do server-side rendering. Just don't do like static regeneration for user content. So that's how I want to take it. Okay. Jay is asking about suggestion on statement. Okay, state. So this is like a hot topic these days about state. I mean, it's a hot topic all the time. So we have recoil right now, and from Facebook, and the React team doesn't like that. Not doesn't like, they don't recommend that. So interesting. So about React management, I lost the chat. Sorry. All right. Yeah. About state management. So I think React hooks are really good about managing state. I think we should stop worrying about Redux and other stuff. And then for the data fetching, cache management, you can do SWR. So it's a one SWR dot dot app, and there's a similar one called React Query. So yeah, I tried both, and both are similar. And there are some cool features in React Query, and there are some other cool features, simplicity in SWR. So it's up to you. So these both projects are really good, and this can be used for like data fetching and caching kind of thing.
And the caching and all stuff, if you're working with the GraphQL, it's available currently for the Apollo client also.
Yeah. I think I mean, you could use SWR for GraphQL as well, because in here fetching is up to you. You could, like, here I can show you. So we can create a fetcher.
I think you have a custom fetch function, right? You can give the fetch function.
Anything you could do, Axios inside that, maybe fetch GraphQL. I mean, talk to like software, and then of course Apollo client is something you could use. But there's like a thing with Apollo client, get a bad reputation. Like the client library is quite huge, so they said like there's a problem with
and
Apollo
is
client.
from a famous company.
Yeah, Meteor. Yeah, I think they do really cool stuff in the GraphQL world, but I'm not trying to say it's bad. Like, so there's a bad reputation for them to have like huge library. That's why people try to use simple solution like SWR and React Query. Yeah,
it's kind of solution. The solution is really good with all these features. Only thing is kind of really big compared to the other solutions.
Yeah,
but
I think
for now we are actually using for the production.
So my idea about this is, I think that file size is comparable. Like, let's say you have, like, imagine your homepage around 200 KB, and you are worrying about like a module to fetch data about like which has maybe 100K. I don't know. So then it's up to you. Like, choose what you want to pick. But if Apollo is working for you, and I think go for it, and there's no reason to stop. And about
they also have kind of they also got the state management inbuilt.
Yeah, I think state management is still on all this stuff, like in React Query and SWR. They have way to update the cache, so it's built in. And I think about state management, it's not about this kind of stuff. Maybe you need to you need to maintain the client only state, not something back in the server. And then that's why you could try to use a state. Let's say you are trying to create a financial dashboard workflow, something kind of thing. Then you have next kind of things, and then you need to store this data in some form, and not either inside a database. And that's where you should use a client side client data management stuff. And then there are some solutions, like you can have Redux, we can have Recoil, and there's a new thing. And I think there's another thing I haven't used, this called Chatu, do you remember, like there's another framework to that, client-side management in React, which is quite popular, like React MobX. Yes, that is MobX. So this is you can do. If you really work with client-only data, and these are you can try to use these things. And first, just forget about all these things. Just you create your application with hooks, and then add stuff as you need. That's my advice. Right. Okay. Pahan mentioned the link about the good idea about micro frontends. I think I'll open it, but I think do you have kind of show notes in Chatu? Like, we can put this link. Yeah.
We can actually put it as a comment in the meetup. We also can later put it into the YouTube description.
All right. Thanks. That's right. Right. Prashant asked about, do you talk about SSR in Next.js? Prashant, what's the question mean? Do you talk about SSR in Next.js? Chasu, do you know?
I think it's server-side regeneration. Static site, yeah, static site regeneration. I think we actually had that talk about in the session. I think
I mean, I guess so. SSR means server-side rendering as well. So that's what we do. But yeah,
yeah.
I think I mean, yeah,
server-side rendering.
yeah. I think Prashant, can you like explain a little bit more about the question, like so then I can address. Yeah, I think Pahan. Yeah, okay, cool. Pahan has some question. Prashant has some question. Like, please go for it. Okay. I think Petko asked about like which one you recommend, React Core or SWR. I haven't used Mobx. I tried React Core, and I think it's good. But I like to use SWR because I know how it works. I didn't wrote it. I haven't much involved with the SWR project. But I bring the initial idea of how stage management should work internally with the cell, and then the SWR team, especially Ashu, he completely everything and rebuild the stuff. And but the idea of how SWR works is something I like, so that's why I try to recommend SWR. But there are some I have seen there are some edge cases that you need some help, and then React Core does that automatically. Yeah, so I think it's up to you. I cannot recommend a solution for you. I like SWR, but yeah, right. Okay, Jay, yeah, Mobex that I'm talking about that. About this question about Web3.js or for blockchain, I'm quite not sure. I'm not familiar with that framework for sure. Sorry. Right. Okay, Prashant asking about, did you guys? Yeah, I think I talk about SSR and other stuff in next. I mean, like, I can give you a brief. We have 10 new messages. Basically, Next.js you can do SSR. That's the default. I mean, not the default you could use, and you SSR so that static regeneration if you like static pages, and then yeah, there are quite a few options. And if you want to learn about those things, and yeah, get my course. This one it's free. I mean, like I don't want to sell it, and I'll try to put everything inside here. Go to get started.
His question is actually he asking about how does he can usually load data in nested components from a server-side rendering. What's your approach?
Oh, okay. That's the question. Okay. So basically, in that case,
so you have a whole page content, and when you pass that as a prop, and you have a multiple nested components.
All right, that's fine. Then in your get static props thing, so here, I mean, like here, so it's a get server side props, and here you have to like identify all the data you need from your components and send it here. And there's an interesting way. I understand your problem, and then you need to like define that logic here. And there's a quite good solution.
I think his question is related to prop drilling. So in the when you have multiple nested components, you need to pass that prop into all your components.
Yeah, of course. And there's an interesting way with the Apollo client. I don't think we still have that example or kind of way because if you use Apollo with Next.js, and they will go through your components, and they will identify the data you need, and then it will fetch all the data you need, and then pass it to the Apollo client, and you don't need to like do it manually. So it will try to look at the component and try to fetch data.
So Apollo client had a way that you can actually go through all the tree and get the data at once and put into a cache and make it available for all things, but it doesn't work on this new approach in 9.4. It was working with the get initial props. So if I put that in the underscore app part, so it's going to get all things, and it's going to invalidate that server-side generation part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like it's some way we can explore things right now. I think there could be some example in the Next.js example directory. So basically try to go there. I think that's like a huge set of way. Yeah, GitHub next. versus Next.js, and we have the example directory. I think we have a lot of stuff there. So I imagine we have something like that, and if not, just talk in the discussions page forum, and I think people are really helpful there. So yeah, that's one. All right. Okay, I think Prashant's question is good. All right. Okay, I think I asked the question about the Petco, about the prop trading. All right, right. Yeah, okay. Prop trading. Interesting. How do you, Prashant asked another question about how do you do with general REST API, GraphQL clients, general API. Okay. About the REST API, I think we can use SWR or React query to fetch data, and that's fine. I mean, yeah, for the GraphQL, and that works too. Yeah, I mean, for my apps, I try to use GraphQL because I like the how it define a contract between the server and client, which is something I like. Then I use SWR to fetch data, and that's it. I don't have any use case to like use Apollo client right now because I can work around with the yeah, with the ways. Yeah, that's it. And the reason I don't need the Apollo client, this prop telling reason is because I don't do with my apps, I don't do the server-side rendering. Then I don't need to worry about like trying to prop your prop telling thing. So I don't need like to understand all the data I need here. So instead of I fetch data inside the component in the client side. So then so any data fetching solution works. So. All right. Pahan is asking about anyone using relay for fetch data. Yeah, that's I think a relay. I don't really think people use relay still a
There
lot.
are some people still. I think the relay is getting better these days, but they don't have official hook support yet. Last time when I checked, so I'm waiting to add that one to try out because I actually want to switch from Apollo client.
Actually, I didn't like how relay works for a long time. Even when GraphQL is starting up, we had I mean like we want to do, I mean, so then I created like I didn't like how relay works. So then I think I created something called Loka a few I think that days to make it simple. So yeah. Julian is asking about like, so we don't need to do this unstable thing. Yeah, this is the old version of Next.js I'm using. So I can simply, nowadays we can simply remove this unstable stuff and just use to revalidate. Thanks, Julian. Right. Yeah, I think Chadu, that's it, right? And I have another talk another session in a few minutes as well. So
yeah, but
shall we wrap this up?
More than we expected. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think now I'm quite free to discuss. I mean, like I have much time these days, so then we can have a session maybe in next month to talk something. If we need
it. Even in this month also, we are more than welcome.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Ping me if you really need.
Yeah, we have episode now.
Right. Thanks, Chatu, for having me and everyone who joined here and asked questions. Yeah. Thanks,
cool.
guys.
This is kind of a very interactive session.
Yeah, let me stop my screen.
Okay. So it's kind of wrapping up talk now. So I want to thank Arunoda, and we are actually planning this session in July. Actually, we are trying to get this one, and finally we actually made it into August. And I'm happy to start the August with you. And thank you very much for when I asked that I need a session to do about Next.js, and yeah, cool for accepting it. And I want to thank Pupudu, who's actually designed the flyer and do all the marketing for the meetup. And Ben, who's from Australia and he's still on the session, who's running the session from the Zoom giving our sponsorship from Auth0. And I want to thank all of you who here and asking all the questions and making these things going on. And it's very interactive session. You had very many questions and we had a lot to discuss. I think that's it. So till the next episode, we are going to have more JavaScript and learn Next.js. Cool. See you in the next one.